Okay, so it seems like we have a little bit of an update on the entire Grimmi and Mythic talent situation, and it seems like Grimmi has responded to Mythic talent's response to this all. Now, if you don't remember, we covered this response in the last video and also covered everything that Grimmi said on her stream as well in the video before that one. But essentially, yeah, we're now going into the response Grimmi has made to this statement, which obviously is saying Mythic is aware of the public statements, whatever. Again, you can go watch the other video if you want a more in-depth look at that. But essentially, yeah, Grimmi has responded saying, hey, this is the third explanation they've given about these issues. I don't have anything against them, but so far they've claimed for the same publisher negotiated with the same messages, with the same methods. It was a typo, they were agency fees, and now they're changing the story again and saying I was paid in full for an amount that they never showed me, but there's various banking fees. So which is it? I believe at this point they're trying to get a statement out first so they don't have to confront the other information they gave me or how I talked about the situation. So here is mine. I don't want any money. I don't want attention and would prefer to go back to streaming normally, so I'm on break hoping for things to calm down and waiting for attention to dissipate. Not trying to capitalize off of it like some people have claimed. So my intention with saying this is letting other streamers of Mythic talent know that they should request their full negotiation records for sponsorships, which, yeah, obviously that seems to have been the case from the start, right? She's been 100% saying like, hey, anybody else in Mythic talent, right, just look out, just look at your contracts, ask for your contracts and see if you can, you know, take a look into exactly what they're offering you and what they're offering you versus what they're paying you and, you know, what the company's paying out and everything like that, which of course is the biggest concern for her. And I think that is, you know, fair enough. Then she goes on by saying, that being said, everyone I talked to at Mythic Management is very pleasant. I liked everyone I worked with. Don't wish them any ill. Please don't be harsh on them. Everyone there is a person with a life, and this is stressful to go through for them too. I don't know who is involved with this, but please do not paint me as stupid or attack me after you've continued to give me different explanations. Please do not act like I did not understand my contract. You're taking an additional random amount off the top before presenting it to the streamer and taking the agreed 20%. Why are there 3 explanations for this now? If you can't believe me, that's fine, but it also looks like this isn't an isolated incident when people talk directly to sponsors involved with Mythic. I don't know who's responsible for this, but I hope it gets resolved for everyone. Nothing against anyone here. Hope they are all well. So obviously, yeah, she says that she has nothing against any of the people that, you know, have been kind of sorting things. And again, a lot of the time it does tend to be people more higher up that this issue tends to be with whenever it comes to like the different like agents or whatever you already want to call them, or the contacts or whatever at Mythic or any other place as well, right? They tend to be just, you know, the people that are offering things to you, and they tend to be nice, right? Obviously some people have different experiences with them, but yeah, she's saying like don't go attack any of those people, of course, because yeah, that would be horrible for them. But yeah, she also links this tweet from Sheaf GG where they essentially talk about it. Obviously, yeah, they're a content creator as well, and they said, I had a similar experience with Mythic, straight lied to about what the sponsor was offering, and it took me talking to the sponsor themselves to find out. Not surprised to see this. Used car salesman 100%. So yeah, obviously they're saying this was something that was also you know, happening to them. Now people saying, oh, mind linking what you're talking about? Would love to see what the sponsors said they were paying compared to what Mythic told you. And obviously, yeah, I was saying, considering there's a high likelihood this ends up in a lawsuit, considering Grimmi says she's talking with lawyers and there's 0% chance of us seeing communications at this time, which yeah, it is pretty disappointing. Now of course, you know, I would like to see the proof of this from Sheaf, because of course Grimmi has shown the proof. Grimmi has shown the kind of transactions that some of the sponsors had sent her, as well as versus you know, exactly what the sponsor what Mythic talent was saying she was going to get paid and stuff like that, right? Which of course you know, helped clarify things a little bit further. But again, you know, with Sheaf, there isn't that kind of proof. Obviously, I'm not saying, you know, it's not true or anything, but, you know, it would be nice to see that kind of proof in the future, whenever that may be. And of course, people have been mentioning the fact that, you know, there could be a lawsuit going on or whatever. I don't know if Sheaf would be involved in that or not. But again, that is a potential. But from what it seems like, though, although, you know, everyone's talking about lawsuit this, lawsuit that, it seems like Grimmi does just want to kind of move on from it, doesn't want to get like attention or money or whatever. She wants to go back to streaming normally, which of course maybe might mean that there won't be a lawsuit unless it gets bad, right? Unless it gets really bad, and maybe, you know, there's the only potential I can see maybe is Mythic making another response that maybe is bad, that essentially, you know, makes it go into a lawsuit. I don't know, but again, she's weighing up her options. We don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens, right? Obviously, Grimmi saying, I'm going back offline, but I felt it was important to respond to this, wishing everyone well. And obviously, you got people like Deme saying, I'm sorry you're dealing with this, Grimmi. I hope it gets resolved for you. I'd absolutely be furious if I found out my sponsors were offering me more, and a company that's already taking 20% takes a bit more, which again, yeah, that, you know, that is pretty crazy, right? You know, they're already taking a pretty big cut of money from your sponsor already, and they, you know, it seems like they were taking more. Now, you know, it seems like obviously Mythic Talent here, whenever they say, whenever they kind of, I guess, what do you call it, address the claims, they say the claims that Mythic skimmed funds from her 2 campaigns are factually incorrect. Our records indicate Grimmi was paid in full for both cited activations, which obviously if we looked at the Grimmi screenshots and stuff like that, which we looked at in the previous video, that wouldn't say the same thing. Obviously they said it was a typo and they got it wrong, and that she would be paid the full amount afterwards, which again, I do think is a little bit strange. And obviously, yeah, they're saying per contract terms and according to the terms of her agreement, which included an agreed upon management fee, the campaigns were valued at 2,100 and 4,400 respectively. So in the first campaign, Grimmi was sent the full value of 2,100 activation, less our agreed upon management fee, less any potential banking / transaction fees on her end. So yeah, obviously they tried to talk about the fact that there is stuff like banking fees and transaction fees, which is a thing, right? And of course that does happen, but again, what is very suspicious to me at least is the fact that, yeah, they've gone, it was a typo, there were agency fees, and now it's a, you know, there could be banking charges and stuff like that involved in it, even though she did, you know, I'm pretty sure she ended up getting paid the kind of missing amount. I don't know if she ended up getting paid about it, but you know, obviously they did address it at least the first time with a typo, saying, oops, sorry, it was a typo. But it is odd, right? And obviously we've been fair to Mythic in, I think, all the other videos. At least I feel like I've been fair to them in terms of saying, like, yeah, maybe it was genuinely a typo. There could genuinely be a mistake. But obviously, yeah, they're saying as well, for example, Grimmi says that, you know, the reasons that they gave, obviously the first one being the typo, the second one being there were agency fees. So essentially there was some other agency they were working with, which also needed to take a cut of fees. But what she's saying here is it was for the same publisher and that they negotiated with the same method. So why was one time, why did they, you know, need to pay agency fees on the second time if it's with the same publisher? It doesn't really make sense. Now, maybe it's because they found it through a different publisher and through a different agency. Sorry, I don't know. But again, it does seem pretty confusing and pretty, I don't want to say suspicious, but pretty, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about here. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be answered, and that is essentially why people are so confused right now and so, you know, angry. You got Lucia Krabs here saying, I love you, Grimmi, saying, oh no, I'm sorry this is happening, wishing you the best and sending all the loves here, saying, get them, Grimmi. So Grimmi calls them out, they lose their biggest guy, the Grimmi Reapers tries to go, okay. I don't think she really wants to, I don't know if she wants to be labeled as that, but, you know, I think that it's pretty crazy. I said, really just seems like you're holding them accountable rather than trying to cancel them, and you felt uncomfortable with doing business with them long term. Seems super valid and normal to me. Nothing wrong with having standards and expecting professionalism. Yeah, 100% true, right? It doesn't seem like to me that Grimmi, like from all of the content that because we've done a couple of videos on it before. I forgot exactly what about. I think it's about VShojo, something similar to that. But again, from what I've seen of her, she doesn't strike me as someone that wants to create drama or create controversy or to create some kind of issues, right? Because of course, you know, there are people out there that will do that. There are people out there who will upload Google Docs as it's like every single day, because that's the only thing that will get them attention, or that's, you know, that's the thing that they like. But Grimmi doesn't strike me as a person that would do this ever, right? And it seems like this is out of a genuine kind of worry for other people in the space, other mythic talents and everything like that, that, you know, she is kind of pointing this out and being like, hey, you know, make sure to check your documents because they're doing this to me. And yeah, as you know, they're saying she wants some professionalism. She wants there to be this level of professionalism that there should be within mythic talent. And if that's not the case, then of course, you know, she's allowed to speak out about it, right? But of course, yeah, it seems like that is the response that Grimmi has made in response to the Mythic Talent thing. Now, of course, I don't know what's going to happen from here. Like, is Mythic Talent going to put out another statement, or are they going to contact Grimmi directly? Because they did say that they, I think they said that they were going to contact her. while we attempted to reach Grimmi to clarify her grievances, she chose to make them public. Which obviously, yeah, I don't know if they're going to try and do it privately later on. I know it's already gone public, but you know, sometimes it can be sorted out in DMs or whatever. I don't know. But again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. And in regards to a lawsuit or anything happening, again, that is also just a wait and see kind of thing. Because of course, Grimmi says that, you know, she isn't 100%, you know, sure on that's going to happen or whatever. But of course, she has extra evidence and extra stuff that could, you know, be backed up to do this, which she is saving just in case that does get to that point, right? And of course, it seems like the majority of people are supporting Grimmi within this, which I think is good because, of course, you know, it seems like this is just a genuine concern for the company rather than like a cancellation attempt for Mythic talent, right? And you can already tell, you know, the kind of general opinion of this, with this being 1 million views, 1.4k likes, and she's already managed to get 1.5k likes, and it's not even that one, sorry, that's not even her, that's Sheaf, but that even says, you know, something about that too. She managed to get 2.3k likes, that's even more within the course of like 2 hours. So again, you know, it seems like a lot of people are siding with Grimmi at the moment, but as I said, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see if Mythic talent have anything, any explanations or something like that. And of course, things are getting a little bit weird with a lot of other people leaving as well. You know, for example, Asmongold, which I think was to do more so the Caseytron stuff. We've also had other VTubers as well leaving, which I have covered in a separate video. So again, we will cover that tomorrow whenever that does go live. So yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also go to GameStop, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.